As many of you may already know, we've moved from our little home in Melbourne, Victoria, to be closer to our families in New South Wales. It was such an emotional and busy start to the year moving in February, and shortly after, James and I both started new jobs. So it has been quite a big adjusting process, moving across the country with all of our belongings in the back of a trailer James's dad so generously drove. Packing and then unpacking, and also trying to plan our wedding. It's taken me a while to make this video because it made me too emotional looking back at all the footage of Grant's house. But I know I have to get my act together because it's been far too long without a video for all you beautiful and extremely patient subscribers. Thank you for bearing with me and letting me get myself organised and settled into our new little life. It was the strangest feeling seeing Grant's house empty, with all of our belongings packed in the back of our van and our furniture tightly packed into a trailer. I took the time to enjoy one last cup of tea while I packed up the remaining kitchen items and took a moment to reminisce on all the fond memories we made here. We spent 2 days on the road as the drive from Victoria to northern New South Wales is quite a big trip, over 1,500 kilometres and 17 hours long. And of course, we brought our 2 chickens on the road trip, Mabel and Maud. Unfortunately, we couldn't fit them in our van as we had completely filled the van with our stuff packed to the roof. So the chickens got to road trip with James's dad, Greg. And they managed to cluck, squawk and make a lot of noise the entire time. And not forgetting to lay an egg on the second day of the road trip, which involved an exorbitant amount of noise and also a constant smell of poop for the entire 2 days, which the smell managed to permeate into the car's interior, which poor Greg had to put up with. After what felt like the longest 2 days on the road, with a stopover in Sydney on the way to see family and to let the chickens have a roam around, we finally made it to northern New South Wales. The chickens got to meet their new roommate Marmalade, and they quickly settled in together as a new flock.
Marmalade's come over. Marmalade.
James and his family helped us unpack the trailer and carefully unloaded our beautiful vintage fridge that probably weighs over 100 kilos. I was so happy we were able to bring our sentimental and incredibly special pieces with us, despite not having a lot of room in the trailer. The house looked an absolute mess with bags, boxes and furniture randomly placed. But before we properly moved in, we had a lot of cleaning to do as the previous tenants left it a little messy. There were cobwebs and spiders living along the ceilings, a grease-coated kitchen, windows in need of a desperate clean, and loose fly screens to be fixed. And little by little, we started to settle in on the family farm.
Get out of it! Stop stealing their food! Stop stealing their food!
I planted hydrangeas in the side garden. We hung hanging baskets full of flowers. slowly put the kitchen together. Decorated my family's old kitchen hutch, danced, and upgraded from the mattress on the floor to an actual bed. While in the meantime, we searched for a bed base to eventually go with the upholstered pink headboard I made in Melbourne.
Oh my gosh! It looks great!
Like clockwork, every morning at 8 AM during summer, the Corellas come in flocks to a large orange flowering tree right next to the house, where they would feast on the seed pods and drop them on our roof. As well as moving into a new house and unpacking, James and I had both just started new jobs. I graduated as a registered nurse at the beginning of the year, and then adding on top planning a wedding in October, which seems to be creeping up so quickly, I feel like I haven't stopped working. It's been lovely being involved in our sweet nephew's life and watching him grow up so quickly now. It's going to take some getting used to being in a subtropical climate now, as I had grown so used to the crisp weather in the cold regions of Victoria. Now we are close to the beach and have a much more humid climate. We've been having heavy downpours that have been flowing straight off the tin roof, which unfortunately has no gutter, which has been flooding the garden and footpaths around the house. Conveniently, there's a gutter along the front of the cottage. Unfortunately, there's a downpipe that has been cut and the water just flows straight through into a giant puddle. So you may have already guessed, there's a lot to be done around the house, and I of course want to decorate the interior of this 1970s cottage to feel a lot more vintage and make it reminiscent of the 1940s and 50s. On another note, I forgot to mention we got 3 new chickens, Gertrude, Gladys and Ruth. We've really leaned into the idea of naming all of our chickens old lady names, which just seems to match them perfectly. The new chickens were still quite young when we bought them, and were also looking pretty ragged as they were in the middle of molting season and they were still growing their tail feathers in. I really appreciate how patient you've all been with my slow start back to YouTube. I'm hoping I can find a balance between work, YouTube and everything in between. And hopefully you'll be able to enjoy a video at least every month with updates on our little cottage renovations, wedding planning, cooking and our vintage lifestyle. Thank you so much for watching this long-awaited video and I'll see you all very soon. Bye!